Welcome to Absolutely Marvel and DC. And what is today? It's Marvel. So Absolutely Marvel and DC and Marvel.
Yes.
Just Marvel.
Marvel's getting the
Absolutely Marvel.
My name is Benny. That is Sal. And that is Papa Smurf. Throwing up blue, because you got a blue microphone, blue hair.
Yeah, that's fair.
Nice.
Plus, I don't know. Calling you Papa Smurf just makes you feel makes you appear dignified to me. Like you should be telling us all what to do. Like I'm Loud Smurf, and he's Angry Smurf, and you're Papa Smurf.
Sweet. I haven't been called a Smurf type thing in 25, 30 years.
I know exactly what you mean, Angry Smurf. Anyway, today we're going to talk about the show Loki. Full-blown spoilers. We're just going to go through it. It's what we do here. So I'll give you a quick recap at the beginning, and then we're going to go into the opinions of Sal, Dylan, and myself. I forgot the name I gave you, Dylan, and midway through trying to say Dylan, I couldn't remember Dylan. I could not remember your original name or the joke name.
Oops.
So, Loki kicks off by basically the ending of the Avengers Endgame. Is that when the time travel heist happened?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so Endgame, where Loki takes the Tesseract and leaves, he disappears. He gets picked up by the TVA, the Time Variance Authority, and basically this first episode is explaining what the Time Variance Authority is, what their goal is, and what Loki's role in that will be. And it's an hour of that, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yep, no question about that.
All right, well, thanks for watching the show today. We all agreed that it was a good show.
We all agree it's great. The end.
So, Dylan, why did you take point today? Because normally it's me or Sal that goes first.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I really liked this. I kind of knew nothing going in. Like I didn't watch the trailer. I edited your guys' discussion on the trailer, but I kind of didn't really pay attention while I was editing it on purpose.
I don't know if that's something you want to tell your boss, but okay.
Well, I cut around. You wouldn't have noticed unless I had said something.
I agree. Hence my point of maybe that's something you don't want to tell your boss.
Look, I try to avoid things so that my opinions are pure. And also, like, there's a lot of things that happen in this episode, I think, that were, like, in the trailer. Like, so one of my favorite parts in this episode was the D.B. Cooper bit.
Yes.
Which apparently is in the trailer, and everybody's talking about, like, oh, that's like a big thing in the trailer. But I had no idea about that. And when they cut to it, I was like,
D.B. Cooper was, for the record. I had to Google D.B. Cooper when they made the joke.
Before he said, I was kind of hoping that it makes sense because D.B. Cooper is kind of like a obscure thing. I was thinking that they weren't even going to name drop D.B. Cooper, and they were just going to allude to that. Because before Mobius, Owen Wilson's character, was like, I can't believe you were D.B. Cooper. Wow.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, whoa, what? Loki was D.B. Cooper? That's awesome.
Now, when they drop the trailer and he jumps out the window with the money, I'm like, or out the plane with the money, I'm like, okay, we're just gonna. I thought that was gonna be like part of the show. That the premise was that Loki is going to it's gonna be like Quantum Leap, and Loki is gonna go throughout time playing characters who were either anonymous or like background people throughout history. But instead, it was just played for laughs, which is like, yeah, I should expect that from the MCU at this point, where it's like, oh, this really crucial kind of fun idea is actually just a joke, but. It still works, and it was a delight. But yeah, I was definitely like, yes, we're doing the D.B. Cooper thing, sweet. My favorite bit still was the please write name and certify this is everything you've ever said.
Yeah,
this
is absurd. Little gag.
It's just great. I don't know why.
I liked his robot gag, where he's like,
yes,
he stepped into this to prove it at a robot. Well, do people come in here not know they're a robot? Yes, that happens. So how do I know I'm not a robot?
What if I'm a robot? That's such great, like, I don't know. I feel like Loki was written better here than he ever has been.
Well, I feel like it's because the focus is on Loki finally. He's not a side character to Thor.
The
TVA, he's written really well in Ragnarok as well.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
here is expert.
I found the TVA itself to be very interesting. The overall tone, the vibes, that like golden kind of 1960s kind of appearance, but they're super futuristic.
So good.
Yeah. Fun fact: the TVA does exist in the comics. Almost not though.
Right. They're actually more of a joke in the comics than they are a joke in the MCU, which is kind of a fun twist in fate. Yeah. Like Tiffany was like, we're watching it. She's like, is the TVA real? And I'm like, yeah, but like it's super dumb.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently, I had to Google them, and apparently they show up because of Kang.
Right.
They're
Okay,
involved
cool.
in the time trial of She-Hulk, and they're in Thor 371, and that's it. That's the TVA.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah,
and they're
it
complicated
definitely
looking.
seemed like something that was contrived enough that it probably had some kind of origin, but
Yes.
it was one of those like just one-off things.
Well, and I can imagine Feige being like, "Oh my God, they're really in the and oh my, they have no history." Yes,
Perfect.
They
okay.
use everything with
exactly.
no history. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love how they decided to do the Loki character, though. They basically spend the first 20 minutes with Loki just being Loki, like, I'm a god, leave me alone, I shouldn't have to deal with this.
2012 Loki. Like Loki has gone through what 4 movies of character growth since Avengers 1.
Right.
And so they had to establish this is Loki who has not gone through the growth of 2 other Thor movies and multiple Avengers.
Well,
So-
what I love about that character, like, realization was showing
Yes.
him what the other one did.
Yeah.
So they very
Yeah.
clearly were like, here's what the other one did, but you are not him.
Right.
So,
Yeah. I was really worried that they weren't going to like they were just going to stop him looking at his memories like up until his point, but I'm really glad that he got my main concern was they were going to show him basically him killing his mom and then that was going to be it.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm really glad they went further and they showed him up until like his actual death.
Yes.
Right, to reveal, like, hey, your set path is this. You will die.
Right.
This is the
Yep.
end of that. No question about it.
Yeah.
Owen Wilson, I thought, was a great inclusion to the MCU. His character's
Absolutely.
incredible.
He works, yeah.
Just his overall... I mean, Owen Wilson's a good actor. I've yet to see him in anything that I dislike him in.
Gotta
you
love
know.
Cars.
What? Model
Gotta love
Cars?
Cars.
Was he in Cars?
He's
Yeah,
Lightning,
he's Lightning
McQueen.
McQueen.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I haven't even
Benny,
seen
you don't know your
Cars.
Owen Wilson lore?
Oh, my bad. I still
Yeah.
remember
I
him
guess
from, was
maybe
it Wedding
Shanghai
Crashers?
Nights. He's not great in.
Looking at the way that they handled this in general, right?
Right.
How do you guys feel about pretty much them turning the TVA into basically Doctor Who?
Yeah.
That's basically they're literally just walking through time doors, just showing up in places.
Yeah, that robot that takes his clothes off. First of all, I love the design on that robot, but it is also super Whovian, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I see where we're going with this. I also love just as a quick note, like I've seen Twitterverse blown up. Oh my god, the design aesthetic on this show is spectacular, and I'm like, for that 70s design aesthetic, which for the longest time was garish and horrible by everyone. Like everyone was like, ew, it's the 70s.
Yeah.
Like I
But
just
think
want
they do
everybody to
such
know.
a good job with the lighting.
That's how fashion works, baby.
Yeah, and you
It's
know what's
cyclical.
funny? That's the thing is that you know what? If you're looking at 70s aesthetic in the time you're in, but that lighting is like 70s lighting, so it it looks in the exact environment it's supposed to be in, or maybe it's just it's so old it's cool now. But either way,
The 70s, I love the way they blended that though with the future technology. Like
Totally.
the looper gun that kept rewinding Loki.
Yes.
Also loved
So
Loki just
simple,
playing with
too.
it. Like
yes,
Yeah.
I was really worried he was gonna like unmake her or something, like break the machine, but yeah,
He
no,
he just kept doing it. Like, oh,
Right?
Oh, this is what it does.
I
okay.
also love it was so smart of them to give Loki the context that he is from. Not this one, but you know, the one that the character has gone through,
Right.
so that we don't have to have him play the same character he was, you know, like 9 years ago.
Exactly.
Right.
We
don't have to rehash that.
We move on. Like he's like, okay, and he's not going to be like, no, that's not me. You know, I'm a different Loki. I'm more of a jerk. I'll be more of a villain than I was before. Like, no, he's the same guy. He's gone through it. And it's like seeing it, going like, yeah, that tracks. That's exactly how I'd behave. Yeah, that's exactly how I'd react. Wow, my brother accepts me. That's actually all I've ever wanted. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, that's okay. I'm learning the lesson all at once. Sounds good to me.
I'm learning the lesson. You gotta love the MCU and how they did that. They're like, Tom Hiddleston did great as Loki, and everyone loves Loki. So you know what we're gonna do? We're just gonna bring him back through time travel.
Yeah, fine by me. Good.
And I mean, like, that's... I don't know if this is testament to show that, like, or, like, evidence that Black Widow is coming back. But, like...
I've had that theory forever now.
Yeah, they set this one up, which, like, whatever. But also, this show, like, Kevin Feige has said, I think, multiple times now, that this show is going to have the biggest impact on the MCU that anything has had so far.
Yeah.
which, I mean, in this episode already makes sense with,
Totally.
this
They haven't even revealed anything. Like, I'm trying to find more things to talk about other than how much I loved the jokes and the acting, but haven't even shown anything to go by what you're saying, Dylan. And we're already hooked on it.
with the introduction of the TVA, and I believe Gugu Mbatha Raw's character is like both of those point to Kang being a thing. So like that immediately when they're doing more time travel and these like 3 like time gods that are controlling it, one of them is Kang. There's no way it's not. So,
see, They've already implied that these higher beings exist and they're going to play a role.
Right.
Yeah.
Like by Loki asking about it. Like it's not. I really doubt we're just gonna brush off the time gods.
It's kind of ironic that we've gotten to this point at the MCU where we can do time gods. Like we have used, mined, if you will, so much of the stuff that is in any way relatable from Jim Starlin's career, but now that Thanos is completely off the table, we can do all the Jim Starlin-y crazy nonsense we possibly can. Like, there's a drawer of Infinity Stones, and it's like, oh, those aren't really important, but you know what will be important? You know, the Infinity Union, or some big stupid machine in the middle at the edge of space that makes magic and mutant powers and every other piece of everything that like just, you know what I mean? Like all the Jim Starlin biggest, most ridiculous edge of space nihilism kind of nonsense you could possibly imagine, they're gonna start doing. And it's gonna be like, right, yeah, as opposed to, yeah, no, if you did that in 2012, people would be like, pass.
Yeah, that's why like I've been so excited about that since Guardians of the Galaxy, because that's when they really started to hint towards that stuff where like we saw Celestials for the first time, but like we didn't really like get to interact with them.
No.
And then in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, there's that Eternity Easter egg, which like this show like opens the door for like maybe we actually will be able to talk to Eternity. Yeah, and Loki would be the one who would like go and talk to him. So
that's true.
I'd be so down for that like nonsense cosmic stuff.
Yeah, I can't wait for more.
So without turning this whole podcast into us just going on and on and on about how much we love the show, let's talk about real quick about the cliffhanger. Okay. So the cliffhanger was the reveal that Loki is the time variant that this Loki's going to chase, which in theory is against what you were saying, Sal, where you thought he was just going to learn the lesson and look for something.
Yes,
like,
I thought it was going to be
him. Yeah. He's looking for himself. But I found it weird that they didn't show him.
No, and I think that's because they're going to show like a female Loki. I've heard rumors about a female Loki. I think they want to have that big moment of like, instead of Tom Hiddleston acting off himself, we cast a really charismatic actor for him to play off of that is literally him, but a woman. So yeah, I think they're saving that probably for episode 2, but. I mean,
yeah, I've heard that same rumor because if you actually look into the female Loki stuff, because Andy and I were looking for it to write on Comic Historian, it's like non-existent. It's literally supposed to be like a hand wave. Oh, he's in a woman's body now, and they never touched on it. They never did anything. There's no centric female Loki story. Nothing. So like it just doesn't exist. And the fact that they said they're not going to play off of existing storylines, that theory ties into that.
Yes. Well, that way we don't have to actually mine, since there is no like prime female Loki story. And we're not going to replace the executive producer on the show, which I noticed was Tom Hiddleston. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. What a bump for him. But the reason we're doing this is because we have Tom Hiddleston. We're not just going to like look for an excuse for Loki to turn into a different actor. So let's cast 2 Lokis, one of whom can be a variant, and that variant is a woman. So sure, go for it. Knock yourself out. As long as it's fun and cool, I'm on board. I don't need him to be like, and now I'm a woman. Like, no, we don't need that.
Now I'm a woman.
I mean, that would like betray the character too, because like Loki has always been kind of he doesn't really care about like he transforms himself into what he needs to get the job done, like far as in Norse mythology transforming himself into a horse so that he can give birth to one.
Right. That's what I was talking about earlier today, because Andy and I were doing a show talking about Loki and how he affected the MCU, and he was saying how everyone's freaking out because they listed him as officially gender fluid.
Sure.
And I was just sitting there like, I mean, yes, but if you know anything about even just Norse mythology, that's not a surprise.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even have to know comics to know that the gods aren't exactly gender locked.
No.
I mean, yeah, Loki especially has been someone who, like, in Norse mythology, they're a little more vague about it, but that's just because Norse mythology is, like, nonsense. And in Marvel, like, they're pretty, like, explicit about that stuff, where he just, like, he's been a woman multiple times, he's been a kid, he's been, like, old, like, maniacal, crazy man.
Right?
So, it's...
Oh my god.
There are 100 different ways you could go with that character.
Exactly. And I think the MCU will do exactly 0 of them for our main primary Loki, but at the very least we'll get some variants on Loki. I'm sure, you know, my original theory was that Loki was going to be like, what? Like, my destiny is to die and lose? Never. I'll go into the multiverse and I'll find the Loki who wins. Or maybe I'm the Loki who wins, and I'll prove it.
Right.
But...
Well, he was saying at the beginning that they were all here because he did win, and that's why you must be trying to fix it because I won. You know,
right? It's like, no, man, you get your neck snapped on a broken ship far away. But I'm excited because this is like, who knows, like what? Because the first episode is called Glorious Purpose. What is his glorious purpose now?
Which I love the theme that is arising now about post Endgame content of just. Like, all of these characters who have been directly affected by the events of, like, the Infinity Saga are now, like, it's kind of just like a, now what?
Yeah,
like,
now what? What do I do?
I have all this trauma. I might be dead.
Right.
What do I do now?
Yeah, and it's just, it's a meta commentary on, like, the producers and the directors and, like, just everyone being like, we still have this franchise, and it's still going to make us money, but we've done everything we planned to do, so now what?
Yeah, I mean, when they started this, they didn't even think they'd get to Infinity War. Never mind.
Yeah,
like it's the biggest franchise in the world. It's,
yeah, and there's still 80 years worth of stories we could make. Like, the Infinity Gauntlet is not the #1 Marvel story of all time here. You know, you could do anything. You took Planet Hulk and made it into a Thor sequel. You could do anything for 20 years.
Yeah. So overall, I'm happy with this. I'm excited. We're probably going to start having a bunch of theories coming out because the first episode did a good job of setting everything up and just showing the humor and the tone.
Yes.
But outside of not showing Loki's face, there's nothing to run with right now.
No.
And maybe that's because Mephisto's behind it all. But
they did point to a devil.
Yeah, she pointed to a devil. It's Mephisto.
Yeah, Tiffany and I were like, "Oh my god, why did you do that?"
I saw
that. People.
I'm gonna laugh if it is Mephisto this time.
No,
like,
it's because Loki has horns.
Yeah.
No, Mephisto's here, man.
Mephisto,
straight up Mephisto.
And they'll make it female Mephisto.
Yes.
You want to know, like, one of the crazy theories I had for like 2 seconds, and then immediately they shot it down, was when Mobius was talking to Loki about how, like, yeah, you killed, like, part of your purpose to bring the Avengers together was killing Phil Coulson, right? I thought he was then going to say,
but you didn't
guess
even
what?
do
He's
that.
alive.
You didn't even do that?
My mind was like, no way.
Yeah,
do you know
no
why?
way.
Because apparently Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't in the canon anymore.
No, of course not. That was why I was like, are they going to do it? Are they going to, like, loop it in and then be like, yeah, that was a we took care of that. The TVA, like, after the show shut down, they went in and were like, you guys are all variants.
Right.
Reset them all.
That'd be amazing.
That would have been amazing, but the fact
that
they didn't reference it at all and just showed Coulson dying, it's like,
no, it's completely just not a thing. It's a different timeline.
That cements it, I think. If anybody had all of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. YouTube channels out there, I'm sorry to say, this is kind of the nail in the coffin for you guys.
Yeah.
It's like, there is no more Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is in canon. If ever they were going to say, oh, and by the way, Phil Coulson never really died, so you didn't even succeed in that, they were going to do it here, and they didn't.
I mean, I think, like, you know, if the Darkhold in like looking completely different than it did in literally 2 separate shows in WandaVision was not confirmation enough.
Yeah.
Like, and I love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's one of, if not my favorite TV show. So, like, but again,
does it make it better or worse that it's out?
It exists.
Right.
I don't care, because it's like after season like 3, that show is completely its own thing, and it's better off for it.
Well, yeah, because seasons 1 through 3, they tried to make it loop into the Inhumans, which never happened. So they were just kind of like, oh, Oh no!
Well,
What do we do?
they embrace it more because they're just like, oh, we're clearly not. It's like they were knocking on the door of like Big Daddy MCU movies, and we're like, can we like play ball a little bit? And finally, they just shut the door and like erased it, and they were like, oh, okay, I guess we'll just do our own thing now.
Yeah,
and they like weren't limping along with that anymore. So
yeah, just holding out hope that Daddy's coming home from getting cigarettes, and it's like he's never coming back.
He's not. Sorry.
You better just go get a paper route and move on.
You guys realize Kevin Feige's never been in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. office, right? He's never been here.
No.
Right. Yeah.
That was all Jeff Loeb and that
Jeff
the
Loeb.
Marvel TV back then.
Yeah.
Which is gone now.
So,
Yeah.
all right, guys. Well, we don't have much more to say about today's Loki, other than we loved it. You should check it out. Let us know in the comments down below what you thought about it, and we'll be back next week with our follow-up review on episode 2. My name is Benny. That is Sal. And that is Papa Smurf. And we will see you next week right here at the Loki Review Show.